Live tonight on American Zombie. Like say what's up to everybody. Baby Bronson, what's up, brother? Peace and blessings. Always, my brother. Good to see you, man. Link is pinned to the top of the chat. Effects of the wireless world. I was going to just call it the wireless world, but really it's the effects of the wireless world. And a lot of us don't realize that these electromagnetic signals, the radio frequencies, things that are flying around in the air that nobody takes a second to think about, have an effect on people. They have an effect on cognitive issues. Anybody can look it up. Type in wireless radio frequency problems in humans just to see yourself, you know, see if those people are crazy with the tinfoil hats and stuff like that. Who knows? Who really knows? But some studies do suggest possible links, right, to serious medical, reproductive possibility of reproductive harm. And the research, of course, is ongoing. You know they're going to have the ongoing research. They're like, look, it showed that it caused a problem. Here's another billion. It's inconclusive. Yeah, we found that, but we're going to continue to research. Think about that from a scientist. His point of perspective. He's making 75, 80 grand a year, trying to support a family. Even if he's making 120 and he's got 3 kids, that's a tough one. But now, this company, like cigarette tobacco companies, they'll say, hey, you know what? We know you found something, right? But we're going to pay you to say it's inconclusive. We're going to fund your research. And that's how research is done. Mr. X, how's everything going, bro?
Good, good. I'm looking forward to this stream. Glad to hear your opinion on this and some of the research that you might have done on this topic. So sounds good.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's something that I think a lot of people miss. We don't think about it. We pick up the phone. I don't keep it to my head because it's there's a lot of concerns about keeping the phone itself, the wireless phone, to your ear. Even the headphones and stuff, they have special ones that are safer than others. So by logic, if there are headphones that are better than other headphones, it makes you wonder, okay, so why are they safer? What is it that makes the other ones unsafe? And it would be the signal that travels up the wire. They have some that are hollow. The problem is with the hollow plastic tube headphones is sometimes they crack easy. So now the tube that's supposed to be carrying the sound is not secure. So people have to get new ones. I think they were like $30 a pop, but that business was it was making some money, but they couldn't keep up with the demand because people wanted to try something new. They're like, yeah, I want to have a healthy alternative. I don't want the frequency coming up the wire, as in some theories talk about, that go to the ear. AirPods too. They're talking about possible effects that could be coming from the AirPods due to the frequency that is broadcasted to them. Now, that's just from the phone to the pods. Now, when we think about the signal going to the phone, so that signal going into the phone is coming from a tower. And now we're getting hit with that. Then there's signals that we're not concerned with because they're other people's signals. Who knows what could be going through our body, because cell phone signals clearly go through bone and flesh. I mean, if they're going through steel and wood and cement, they're getting through. They're clearly getting through.
Definitely. Definitely. We don't know the effects of this. Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying insomnia. So these are possible. They're saying wireless radio frequency, and people can get devices to protect themselves. So in other words, somebody the route that somebody might take that might be considered SJW or something is you can't ask these companies to change. They're not going to change. The best we can do is protect ourselves from what's going on. So the tinfoil hat thing, that is a well-known adage where people wear the tinfoil hat to protect themselves from the radio waves that are used by some conspiracy theorists to say that they're used to read your mind.
Hmm.
So that is one. Also, to alter your thoughts, alter your waves of thinking. So the infamous tinfoil hat has been associated with that. Hence the entire tinfoil avatar of Maxed Out, just to totally take it to the next level. But to think that there are frequencies traveling through the air that people don't look at as anything that could cause them a problem is basically is a person walking around on autopilot. I mean, biological effects, they say exposure to radio frequency could cause non-thermal effects, oxidative stress, DNA damage, possibly, and disruption of cell signaling. Wow, that's deep, man. So the disruption of a cell signaling somehow, wow, it could affect that thermal effects at very high levels. They're saying can cause tissue heating and burns, though this is rare during normal device usage. The neurological, so of the effects of the wireless world, the neurological and physical systems users may experience, they could um, headaches, dizziness, and fatigue. So maybe if somebody is experiencing that from talking on a cell phone, maybe they would be better off getting headphones, something that might not have it pressed up against the head so the signal won't be as strong. Memory issues, that's a very serious concern. Sleeplessness, nausea. These are some of the health concerns and reported symptoms by some. Reproductive and developmental harms. This is a serious one too, because of the studies that are saying that the sperm count has dropped so much since the drop of the pill. The pill was dropped in what, 1960? Sperm counts, I think, have dropped under 50% now. Divine Hazel, good to see you. Always a pleasure. She says, for decades, I've had problems with sleeping, major insomnia. I got an EMF blanket. It's not totally gone, but I sleep enough now to realize the blanket works. Wow. Wow. That, I tell you, some of these things really, yeah. And people might look at them as, oh, that's that conspiracy blanket. It's like, no, they have actual purposes. Alexis, good to see you, brother. Says Bluetooth is a mind control device. I very much have to agree with that. In my opinion, I think Bluetooth is always suspicious. I mean, putting some device in your ear, yeah, it just, could we trust wired headphones? I was speaking before about there's certain types that are trustworthy, like the ones with the wire. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. The overhead problem, and that's all over the place. I mean, that's zombie 101. When you try to talk to somebody about that, they are out to lunch. And then the fact that they tried to lie about it for so long. Remember, the lies bring the red flags up. You might not know exactly what's going on in a situation, but when somebody lies, that says a lot right there. That tells you that what was being said is not true. You might not know the truth, but you start to notice their behavior erratic, kind of odd, and you put two and two together. Divine Hazel says, now I put my phone and tablet in the dryer at night and sleep better. Yes, totally, totally. I keep mine in the other room. I mean, uh, if I have to have it in the same room with me, I keep it a minimum of about, say, 5 feet away. But yeah, you're right. If you're sleeping, that you don't need that signal at all. It honestly could do some type of effect. Um, and of course, they're not going to tell you. This is where the person has to do their own research and understand that in the midst of doing this research, we're going to come across Truman Show responses. We're looking for an answer, and we're going to see somebody play out an advertisement. And that's something that I really liked in the Truman Show. That's hard to catch sometimes. When his wife or so-called wife is advertising the cocoa or something when they're in the kitchen and he's trying to talk to her about something serious and he's looking at her like, who are you talking to? Who are you advertising the cocoa for? I'm trying to talk to you about a certain issue and you're advertising this cocoa as if you're talking to somebody, which she was talking to the audience, right? As people watching the Truman Show would know, because he's in a show. But when people in society, like say a political zombie or something, you talk about something and they automatically go into that mindset that the wife was in advertising the product. Noticed how the Truman Show has us, it's giving a hint. It's the person you say, hey man, I don't bother with the voting. Immediate commercial come out. And just the way she was saying with the cocoa, immediate. They're like, hey, you should vote for my candidate because what I believe is blah blah blah. And it's like, who are you talking to, man? It's like, look, don't put on a commercial for me. I don't bother with that stuff. You're a zombie. You're zombified. There's nothing I can say to show you the light. You think that I'm the one that's zombified because I'm not voting for the plantation on this side. And that we see people come up with, we see it happen with junk foods. You might say, nah, I don't want to get a Chick-fil because it's got like over 50 ingredients or something. I'm just not feeling like eating 50 unlisted ingredients, right? Immediate commercial. Truman Show comes out. Kind of like Agent Smith will burst out of someone. And, if you try to go against it, that's the aggressive one, right? The other one that comes out of someone is the Truman Show wife. I forgot that lady's name. She played in Jurassic Park too. Um, she automatically tries to solicit it, tries to sell it now. So as different from Agent Smith popping out and trying to scare the heck out of someone, we have the Truman Show wife approach where that pops out and they try to advertise it to you, saying, hey, this character is going to do something else. It's going to do something good. And it's like, no, I'm not talking about them doing something else. I'm talking about them being untrustworthy. Can we stay on the topic of the political candidate being untrustworthy? And they'll go right back to the commercial. Oh, but he's done this or she's done that. Just like the Truman Show. I think the Truman Show was trying to put an analogy forth, like a metaphor, showing like, look, this is the behavior that people will come out with when you start to question the program. To say, hey, do you find something seems rather odd going on? Something is very odd. But they'll try to reassure you that it's your imagination. That's some really crazy stuff. But I'd like to look up for because my friend, I remember, had the wireless headphones. Which wireless headphones, and these would be headphones, are the safest? Are the safest, right, for cell phones? So which wireless headphones are the safest? And they do have a good few. So you have wireless, and I'll put in wired because that's actually a good one too. Ear tube. Wow, just what I was saying. That pops up. So this is what I was saying earlier, um, about the ear tube headphones are considered the safest option, eliminating direct wire to ear radiation. So they know this. They know this because they're telling you, hey, you want the safest option? But you say, well, wait a minute. So the safer, or so that means the other option isn't safe. No, it's safe. Just these are safer. It really makes you think. It's like, wait a minute. How are that? There's a level to that isn't safe if these are safer. So in other words, those are less safe. Less safe from what? And it's the radiation. And this is where zombies, I mean, they don't even want to know. Yeah, yeah, Brother Ali, good to see you. Says wireless technology, easier, big brother to monitor. Yeah, yeah, it totally, yeah, exactly. That is you talking monitor, and also they have that broadcasting. I think it was Timbo that sent me something in an email. Thank you, Timbo, about the wireless projection of sound. They have something, it was a video about that. A professor was talking about that. Imagine if they can project that into somebody's head to get them thinking that they're hearing something. It's a possibility. I mean, some people are saying that the science it exists. I did see the video that Timbo sent me, so it's out there on YouTube. But ear tube headphones. So that's what I would say, for wired headphones. Wired headphones, air tube headphones are the safest for. They're safer than the EMF exposure one, while over ear noise canceling models prevent hearing damage. So ear noise canceling models. So it's saying that, okay, if there isn't an ear noise canceling model, then it's not going to prevent hearing damage as much. So as apart from the EMF or the radio frequency, one problem, there's also a problem of the volume of it, which can cause hearing damage. And they say that Bluetooth devices are within safety limits, but emit low EMF levels. So the butt, that's where it's at. Air tube headphones, they're saying, are the best. So, and I would think that not many people have heard of those. Yeah, and I think not even if you don't own the headphones, that's cool. What I'm thinking is speakerphone. There's nothing wrong if you put it on speakerphone. You want the phone about 12 inches away from you. You can lay it on the desk, even having it in your hand. Remember, the invisible waves are going through your hand. I mean, if we could see this stuff, like how you can look through night vision and see at night. You can. There are devices now where you can see this, but I have a device where you can test the radiation coming off the phone. I had bought it over 10 years ago. Hopefully it still works, but it was a little over $100, and it would give the reading and say how far the radiation was coming off the phone when it was on speakerphone, which was approximately 10 inches. So having that close to your head, there are many videos that show the effect that it has on the skull. Anybody can look up these studies, which again, the effects of the wireless world. I was going to put the word "the" ahead of it, but I figured just effects of the wireless world that really not many people care about because we are in the zombie apocalypse of the mentally the people that decided not to really care about awareness, because that's really what it's about. Are you aware or not? Are you in a daze, a stupor, or not? So that's basically what it is. It says here that the use of hollow air-filled tube to transmit sound instead of a wire, preventing radiation from traveling into the ear canal. So when you look at the fact that, and I can understand people using headphones, but the ones you use, so if you use one with a wire instead of the hollow air tube, it can, radiation can travel to the ear canal. And I'm only saying that because it's saying here preventing radiation from traveling to the ear canal with the use of a hollow air tubed filled tube to transmit sound instead of a wire. So it's showing us again, as we read in between the lines, it's saying, okay, so you're telling me that a hollow air filled tube to transmit sound instead of a wire, preventing radiation from traveling to the ear canal. So if you don't have that, then it would be traveling to the ear canal. Divine Hazel says, every call coming on speakerphone, EMF or radiation, readers are fun to use. Every call coming on speakerphone, EMF or radiation, readers are fun to use. Yeah, so the safest wireless, they're trying to say, and this is the craziest thing, they're trying to say while all Bluetooth devices emit some radio frequency radiation, that there's some brands that are considered safe, right? Opt for over-ear models to reduce the proximity of the transmitter to your brain. Wow, that is crazy. So the transmitter, of course, is the device, the phone. So these models reduce the proximity of that transmitter, your cell phone, to your brain. So you don't want that close to your brain. In some studies that you can read, I mean, this is again, this is a subject that's extremely important that not many people would care about because of the fact that it is so fringe. This is a thing to show you just how asleep in certain areas, why the zombie spectrum was created, because to classify, like saying, okay, this person is aware about politics, religion, schooling, but as far as the cell phone, they're zombified. They think that a wired headphone is safe, when what it does is it can pull the radiation, it can allow the radiation to travel into the ear canal, as we saw, because the air fill tube is preventing radiation. So if that prevents it, then what does the other one do? It allows it. And these are the ways that, again, the critical thinking skills that seem to be slowly but surely disappearing from society. Just to tell somebody, say, okay, what does the sentence tell you that says an air-filled tube to transmit sound instead of wire prevents radiation from traveling to the ear canal? What does that tell you without telling you? What is it? All right, it's not telling me something, But how is this sentence telling me when it tells me a hollow air-filled tube to transmit sound instead of a wire? So it's telling me if it is a wire, this is how you read in between the lines. If it is a wire, then it can actually allow radiation to travel to the air canal, because the hollow tube is preventing the radiation from traveling into the air canal, because it's the air-filled tube is transmitting sound instead of a wire. So it's the air-filled tube that's transmitting the sound, not the wire that's transmitting the sound. So the wire that transmits the sound that goes up the tube directly to the device that would be the phone, the air phone, that would produce the sound right point blank range for the person to hear, that is causing more, allowing radiation to travel into the air canal, as opposed to the one that is saying it prevents it from traveling in there, which is very important to know. But obviously not many people care about that. How many people do you know actually care? I mean, I can understand, yeah, speakerphone, that's the basic, saying, look, even when I think about the air tube ones that that's supposedly good, it can't be total. There might be something, again, when we look at it, something that somehow we already know. The more you study science, the more questions. If you're doing it properly, the more questions are gonna arise. And that's a good thing, because science is a conversation towards a better understanding of things. People look at it as a debate, but that's because they don't understand what it's about. Science it explains stuff. It explains many things. When we look at the fact that science can explain something in a way that can allow a person to comprehend it, and also to create schematics and stuff on how to recreate it and how to show other people to create it using the scientific method of saying, okay, I can create a blueprint and show somebody how these blueprints are used to create models and how to create new blueprints. This is a way that we can transfer knowledge down. How do we transfer knowledge down that isn't blueprint technical knowledge, but is a type of a thinking knowledge of how to think your way out of certain situations, how to prevent, like when we look at these things that say, oh, an air-filled tube transmits sound instead of a wire, prevents radiation from traveling into the air canal. So a tube that isn't air-filled, that uses a wire, would allow the radiation. And of course, that should be looked up into too. But the fact that they're trying to downplay it, that should bring up a red flag. It's like, wait a minute, why are you trying to downplay this problem so much? And this is another thing too. Coming out and talking about this stuff to see how much people just don't care. They'll keep the wireless Bluetooth problem that some people are talking about. Nobody hears any type of there's not many people that do videos on that. They say, like, some key safety concerns. I've heard this before. The radiation exposure, right? Like they try to talk about with AirPods, right? Emit non-ionizing radiation. While studies have not proven this is harmful, and it is much lower than cell phone radiation, those concerned about long-term direct-to-air exposure prefer wired or air tube alternatives. So instead of they'll even take the direct wire, which is brutal, instead of saying, look, when you transmit that wireless signal to these headphone receivers, you could maybe have an overspill, who knows? but that that signal is the receiver's right there in your ear. I mean, how much more common sense do you need when you think about it to figure that out? And I've heard this too. Yeah, I've heard this, AP. Yeah, I've heard this, man. And people just don't, the zombies don't even want to hear it. Yeah. Yeah, nothing wireless, bro. Yep. It just yeah, it's totally yeah, the people don't realize the danger that can happen from the effects that can happen from the wireless world. That's something I've noticed. They're not trying to hear nothing. They're just, all they want is their entertainment. A lot of people use the phone to listen to music. Now, myself, I don't, but it's amazing the amount of people that listen to music with the phone. I'll listen to some music on the computer sometimes. I try to keep it to a minimum because of the brainwashing that I have seen with what music has done. Not, of course, just the sounds, which sometimes, wireless, I mean, not wireless, instrumental music is much more soothing to me than anything with a voice. The voice, when the voice comes in, it's like, you think to yourself, oh, shut up. It's like, just let me hear the music. And if you really think about some of the mantras that they have people repeating with the hooks, you start to realize how senseless some of it is, how purposely um, programming it is. You just, the idiocy when I look through, and this goes beyond just like what we were talking about with the electromagnetic frequencies and stuff coming through wired headphones or wireless devices that pick up, act as receivers. It just, when I look at some of the stuff that, I think about what people are just like listening to something. They're in society, they're going somewhere, and not being able to engage or be aware of the trip that's happening. People have to numb themselves out. It's like, no, no, no. You're traveling for an hour on the train into Manhattan. Numb yourself out. Don't be aware of your surroundings. Imagine how much more a person would be conscious if they you know if they thought about things when they were traveling. You think about that, when they would actually be thinking. Yeah, the routers and the phones, yeah, exactly. You don't want these things. Yeah, I would recommend, in my own opinion, I wouldn't recommend those things near a person. I mean, they give off a certain level of frequency. And and that's where the apathy comes in with different level zombie. This is a subject where a lot of zombies, a lot of people in general that might not be zombified on many subjects will usually fall into this category because they don't know much about it. It's very easy to be missed. Very easy. I mean, I know a lot of people that use the Bluetooth. You can't tell them. And I've learned this years ago. It's like, you just got to be like, really? Okay. There's nothing, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You try to do something good. Next thing you know, somebody, oh man, I rather the Bluetooth. It was easy. Okay, I shouldn't have never said anything. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Basically, always reminding us that, not to say that you can't do something nice for somebody, but think twice before you decide to. Think and say, what is the benefit of this? You remember, you got to be careful who you wake up. You have to be very careful with look at the whole thing with Cypher. You look at that whole thing. They woke up the wrong person And now this person becomes a threat to your freedom. Your freedom was fine. It was going well. Everything was cool. No, you had to wake this guy up. Why? Why? I mean, that's very important to think about. And those lessons, honestly, to me, those type of lessons in the Matrix are probably one of the most lessons, the questions that are unasked even. If somebody says, well, wait a minute, how, what, I'd like to know a little bit about the story of how they decided to wake up Cypher. Why? Why would they decide to wake somebody like that up? That once they woke them up, now they become an extreme threat. I mean, a threat to the point to where it's illogical. It's like, bro, it's like you're telling me you believe that why would you want to be put back into a matrix, into a pod like that? How would you know if you were awake or not? So in other words, you're basically so illogical, you're asking them to off you, but tell you, look, we're not offing you, we're putting you back in the matrix. Don't worry, believe us. And this is the level of stupidity that becomes dangerous. This is the person that they want that. And they think, I mean, any normal person is going to say, wait a second, that can't be done. They're not going to do that. They're just, I mean, even if they could do that, why would they do that? You wouldn't know. There's no way for, they could put you to sleep and say, okay, we're going to put you back in the matrix and just never wake you up. How would you know? How would you know? And the shocking thing is that most people can't think past that. Most people are going to say, well, what's wrong with that? Or, you know, they'll start making excuses. Like I was saying, the Truman Show, they'll start they'll start shuck and jive and doing the commercial. Hey, this cocoa is the best cocoa that anybody can have. It's like, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? They start giving me commercials on why wired headphones aren't that bad, why Bluetooth isn't that bad. And I'm like, well, have you read any of the studies? No, I just kind of know it. I got a call from Miss Cleo, Psychic Network or something to tell me, you know, what it was. It just, when I think of the excuses that people give me, it's right out of, it's at the login desks at the asylum, basically, at the psychiatric hospital. This is the type of rhetoric you'll hear, that people, you try to, and this comes again to remind us, you try to help them, not saying you can't help people. It's just saying you got to be real careful on who you decide to help. And it kind of brings people to the conclusion that not many people, there's not much you can do. You got to be careful that when somebody's drowning, if you try to save them, that they don't accidentally hold on to you to where you start drowning too. And you're like, hey, wait a second, you got to loosen up your grip so I can bring us both out of the water. Most people, if you go near them, they'll cling to you and you'll drown together. Maybe you can throw them a life preserver, and even that, some of them will cling to it and sink under with it. It's very, I think that just looking around and observing, that's the main thing, to say, to understand the situation that we're in, to say, this is some serious, this is immense. This is immense every day. I mean, and the crazy thing is, it's moving forward. Every day we got people turning 18, becoming authorized legally as an adult to use YouTube and other social media platforms as an adult every day. Every day, people turning 21, able to drink alcohol, stuff like that every day. So we do see that. And what's easy to miss is the technology, is that every day when you think about it, okay, you have these people that are you know, we have these people every day that don't know what's going on, and they move into the adult world now. They're allowed to enter the adult world. what is there to protect them? If nobody has warned them about it, because remember, now they're on their own. Now it's Wild West. Now when they make a decision about something, they can't blame anybody like a parent or a guardian. They are 100% responsible for that. This could have easily and should easily be taught before the person turns 18, to understand that, look, regardless if you're 18 or not, you're responsible for your actions. And the harshest thing for somebody who is still considered not a full adult, which it's so messed up because it makes them feel like they're not a person, is when you try to explain, like, look, you don't get the privileges that an adult would get until you reach that certain age, but you still have to be aware enough to understand that an adult can give you the wrong advice. We see it all the time. You could show somebody who's under 18 stories and say, look, this is the time where you don't listen to an adult because it could save your life. And we see it in these instances with people. Imagine a kid trying to read some of this technical stuff and saying, hey, wait a second, you shouldn't you shouldn't a kid is saying, look, some of these electronic devices, they have healthier options. And the adult already reached the point of just not caring anymore. Oh, who cares? Every device is like that, even the good ones. Or you're very pessimistic, right? That can kind of break the will of the younger person trying to grow up and say, look, you know what? The best we can do is we can at least minimize our exposure. But some adults have become very negative. And again, it's for good adults to show younger adults to watch out for that. To say, look, some of these people are bitter. Some of these people, you have to realize who you're dealing with. You're not going to get a great response from some of them. This person is already broken. And like a broken record, they'll still just keep repeating the same spot, keep repeating it. They're broken. And it's honestly at the point when we see this, we realize it's not their fault. If it's somebody can't see that and can't detect that and know to stay away from it. Some people might say, hey, you know what? I'm going to try to help that person. Good luck. Good luck. Because we've seen what has happened to many people that have tried stuff like that. We've seen that. The risk is just, it's like, why even bother? Some people might go to Good Samaritan route. Once again, good luck. We see, there's a lot to consider. Walking through the zombie apocalypse and staying safe just in one's own vicinity, to say, okay, I got to make sure that I could go out into society and one of these advertisements could attract me. I got to keep my mind strong, especially in places where people are always trying to solicit something to you. That's another problem. People like, hey, it's like best bet is just to walk away. Don't even bother. And there's nothing new that this person is going to have that's going to benefit you. That's most likely you're going to find on the street, especially with the internet. With the internet around, there's so much stuff. There's so much of a connection that it is really minimizing open person-to-person communication. It's getting to a point to where you start to realize, like, yeah, what's really the sense when I can just go here and eliminate all of this other stuff when I'm ready to go travel and pick it up, if I have to even go pick it up. Most of them will deliver it to you. When I look at that system, I'm just like, holy smokes. Very hard to beat that. or to even like try to alter it a little and say, hey, you know what, maybe I can figure something out better. But people, I mean, the comfortable slavery, the comfort, the fact that they're just like, nope, it's okay, I can, they get more um sunk deeper into their fantasy world, because now all they have to do is what is required of them from employment to earn the amount of money to continue their lifestyle. And once that's there, they they kind of sew themselves into a smaller pocket in society. What do they need to socialize with people for on the outside? They have their own internet niche type of society. And sometimes that gets smaller, sometimes it can grow, but it stays in a certain safe area. There's, it kind of makes it to where there's no room or there's no chance encounter for something different to happen. And with the wireless thing, nobody has to even be a second away from it. Yeah, they don't even have to. I mean, the wireless, they're 100% logged in. Now, like we said on the last show, drones are charging while they're still in the air. Drones, they're beaming lasers to drones, transferring energy. And this is the stuff that we're seeing. So the fact that this is the stuff we're seeing, I can just imagine what's behind the scenes. This is like on a level where it's like, holy smokes. It just, yeah. But with the phone and the EMF stuff, it's like AP and AP. Yeah, you got a good point. Some tea bags, yeah, have the microplasts. Yeah, yeah. It's really sad when you look at it. Yeah, the loose tea. Yeah, yeah. The loose tea is actually, and I've seen them with like those chrome tea like bowls where they put the stuff in it. I think just even without the chrome, because you know some of the chromium, you don't want that chromium taste. I could see just putting the tea in the hot water, letting it steep, and then of course you got to strain it. You strain it through either a cloth strainer or even a metal strainer. You know, but yeah, definitely the bags, and I use tea. They do have bags. They don't have the staple because they say the staple also, you know, you get that metal residue from the tea bags with the staples. But yeah, yeah, that's, you know, the fact that we have to look through stuff like that. The good part is it shows that we're still thinking. It shows that, hey, you know what? Be careful of those tea bags. You know, could have, it could have these, you know, these microplastics or something in certain brands. Then you got some that have that, but then they also have the staple in them, and it's like, holy smokes! Now they just blatantly don't care. And then on top of that, then you got the ones that are made, they got the staple, they got the bleached bag, but they also got the ingredients that come from tea that is not organic. So now you might be getting a whole list of pesticide type ingredients with that's never going to be listed. This is why it's good to get organic tea. Always, always very important for that. Very important. It's something that people, I think, overlook. They overlook just to, because they're not educated on it. One, I think that would be the top one. Two is the cognitive dissonance of acting like it's not a big threat. It's not a problem. And that's is a problem. When you have somebody that doesn't know the situation, and immediately, again, they try to become a commercial for the Truman Show. Oh, it's not such a big problem. You know, immediate. It's like, what do you know about it to come out? I mean, when she started doing that commercial right away, That part in the Truman Show, I think, is an extremely important part to go over and to review and to talk about. When he tried to wake up in that scene and he's saying, look, man, something's wrong. And she's like, oh, this cocoa, is such a great cocoa. And he's like, who are you talking to? He's like, I'm trying to talk to you about something. And you're over here talking to like somebody that I don't even know who you talk to, because he doesn't realize that he's in the Truman Show. And she's advertising. She's doing, I guess the more they advertise, the more revenue they make. I never really got really deep into sitting down and watching that entire movie. I guess from being at a point where you're aware and you start to realize like, hey, I can, like, you start to watch most movies on 1.2 or 1.5 just to try to get the parts of it, or just wait till the movie is out for a while and people will immediately start saying, yeah, this part right here or this part right here, this is where the jewels are at. And also scenarios, like you'll see something build up to something and it'll have a teaching moment. And when we look at the deep movies, they all have something to teach us. They all have something to teach us. If we compare them to the buffoonery movies, we start to see like, yeah, I don't think this is the purpose. I don't think we can laugh a little, we can giggle, we can have a good time. But when you really look at it, you say, yeah, there's a time for that. There's a time for that. You can't always have that. To always have that is to go into the circus, is to be part of the carnival, because now you're not taking yourself seriously. And part of me again goes into other parts of philosophy. You can't take yourself that seriously. But that doesn't mean that you're not supposed to have any type of, bearing. It doesn't mean that you don't take yourself seriously at all. Saying that, okay, I can take myself seriously to a certain extent. But then there's parts where I got to loosen up the reins. Where, again, like we sit and we think and we talk. We don't see that a lot. We see a lot of people, and I've noticed this with a lot of so-called radio show hosts and stuff like that. It's as if they don't have, or they're afraid to talk about things that would that I don't know if it might reveal too much about a person, if they're too afraid to let somebody know something about them, and then the person might try to switch it around and say, oh, aha. And I think they're only afraid of the aha is because they're so afraid of confrontation, conversational confrontation. So not physical conversation, just confrontational in a conversation context, to say they don't, and I understand some people just want to have a conversation that's easy, to where there is no turbulence in it, which I wonder, like, okay, is it even worth having that conversation? So I can't say, I have to be careful what I'm saying. And I can understand there's a difference between being careful and respectful, because respectful, that should be good enough. Careful, it's saying, well, what am I being careful for? What, because so I don't trigger you? If I have to be careful when I speak in a conversation that I don't trigger the other person, now I got to think, okay, why would I want to talk to this person? Is there a need that I need to talk to this person? Okay, I understand it. Talk to them, do what you got to do, and then that's it. There is no coming out to be a hangout fest. That hangout fest of being with people that are not positive people. They're detrimental. But a lack of having people with common sense to talk to can make somebody almost, if they allow it to get to them, to break down and talk to other people that they know they need not be they don't need to talk with those people. There's some people that if you're bored, if you're alone, whatever how you feel, those are not the people to talk to. I mean, boredom, they show a lot of ancient uh like like um like proverbs, like stuff like that, like ancient sayings will come out and talk about how dangerous boredom is. What was it? Idle time is the devil's workshop or something. Some religious people would say. Um, you look at the fact that being bored is resisting existence. There's no how are you bored? You're resisting the fact that you're existing, the fact that you're here. Don't resist that fact, and you'll never be bored. You embrace it. You accept it. And this, again, is something that if kids are taught something like this, they might grow up with a better understanding about reality, about saying, hey, depression is just a part of life. When you're feeling really good, when you're on top of the roller coaster, and you're like, wow, this is great. Even as you go down that roller coaster hill, there's a thrill, there's a reward. It's not all scary. It's saying, wow, now I can do this for the thrill. I can climb back up and go down, or I can just be aware of it more and say, okay, I don't need to have that thrill anymore. I know what that thrill is like. So I can move forward in a different direction without having to worry about seeking entertainment 100% of the time, which is what we see. We see a lot of entertainment seekers. When I see people hanging out like Friday night, Saturday night, and they're just like, you see the videos on 6th Street in Austin, in Miami. And I've even noticed this in New York City at the Copa and stuff like that. And I'd be like, what the heck are we out here for? Why am I here? I've even noticed that when I was in Times Square and stuff like that. And I would say, what am I missing if I stay home? And people would make us feel like that since I was a kid. And I would want to just stay home. I'm like, look, what am I going to be standing out there, Dick Clark getting ready to drop the ball, and then afterwards everybody else just walks home. You see everybody else walking on the street. And it's like zombie land again. It's like right after the ball drops, you see everybody walking and quiet, and they're going to do whatever it is they're going to do minutes after midnight on New Year's. And nothing. It just, I mean, I when I think about the type of mental control from it, it's just shocking because I was really on that. I was New Year's, man, when I was a kid. As a room, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Always, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, this is the effects of wireless world. The effects of the wireless world. The effects of the wireless world are far-reaching to the point where we don't understand, I think, the full implications of this. There's one thing to have a world with technology that maybe needs to be, you can have a certain amount of wireless capability with it. The fact that everything is going wireless almost, the fact that they're recharging stuff in the air and nobody cares. I mean, look at who has the power. That right there should have people a little concerned. They say, wait a minute. Okay, so the people that have the power are used to forcing people to do things they don't want to do. They're used to threatening people, the people that have the power. Well, we do see threats in the form of something that they could say is not a threat, but when you look at it, it's really a threat. I mean, what was the synonym for tax? Extortion. extortion, basically. And we already know taxation without representation. We know that's a problem right there. Taxation without representation supposedly is illegal, supposedly. But we'll look into that on the next one. That will be tonight. We'll go into, I wanted to talk about like some government stuff and getting into what is legal, what is law, what is authoritarian, what is basically, you look at just the way the so-called legal world works. Capitalism. Yeah, it's capitalism if we start a business, but if a bank does it, we're supposed to bail them out. So they take people's money and bail out a bank. That's not capitalism anymore. That's dictatorship at that point. Think about it. If capitalism, you start a business, it fails, it fails. If it succeeds, it succeeds. It's beautiful. You can make the money or it doesn't. But when they take your money and the banks that were supposed to fail, mortgages supposed to be forgiven, they didn't do that. So how is this capitalism? And when I pose this question to people that run around with a flag, basically waving a flag that says capitalism, I'm met with blank stares. And I realize that's when you start to realize a reclassification of this person is necessary. This is somebody who you gave a pass in thinking that they weren't an idiot when they were. And again, the fourth law of stupidity, we underestimate the damage that stupid people can do. The people who are unaware, in a stupor, a daze, amazed, anybody can look up the definitions of stupor and the etymology of the word stupid to understand that it is not an insult, it is a description. Sapolo, who wrote the 5 basic laws of human stupidity, says a lot of it in there. Bonhoeffer, who wrote about this in the concentration camps. This is something that people really need to look into, because more than just an epidemic of ignorance, it's an epidemic of stupidity. The laws of stupidity hold true today ever so more than I think any other time in history. But when you look through history, there's no shortage of stupid characters. There's definitely no shortage of that. It's and if you can't find them, if a person can't look through history and find stupid characters, well, guess who's stupid? The person looking through it. It's like, you think about that. It's like, wait, so you can't find nothing? Everything in history you agree with. That's a sign when you look at somebody like that. You say, wait a second. So all these history books and everything that they're saying, you don't find any contradiction in that. And if the person is like, no, it seems like a very believable story. And, so now there's, you ain't going to wake this person up. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, why would you want to? Why would you sometimes, again, the cipher effect, very important for people to understand the cipher effect. You wake up the wrong person, they will turn you in. They will turn, and these movies show you this over and over. Gattaca, I could see in the scene when she found out that he was playing her, that he wasn't really Jerome, because they showed you the scene where, she was all like, oh, he has like a high rating and stuff like that. And yeah, she was pissed. She was pissed in the scene where the detective was there and then he basically outsmarted. And then she sees him walk up the steps. You could see it's like it just broke. It was like, holy smokes. But she wasn't the genetic thing that they played her up to be. So when at the end of it, when she was like handing him the hair so he could check the DNA and he let it just blow away, she saw that, okay, she's learning from him. Like, look, you don't need a test to tell me It's I being with me and talking with me. That's the test. Me seeing where you're at, not the taking your piece of here and seeing where your genetics, what the thing said, because we already saw the same thing that promised a lot of these people's children to be Superman and Superwoman didn't come through on that. And Anton, in that Ethan Hawke, showed how the human will can persevere and override stuff like that. Basically, saying without saying, a person can be smarter with a lower score on an IQ test than the person in comparison to the person with the higher score. Idiots will try to say that, oh no, this person has a high IQ, that automatically makes them smart. That, of course, is not true. We don't see that to be true. I mean, you see people with so-called high IQ um, fail what they try to put up. I think they call it like the Darwin Awards or something, which again is just the cult of Darwinism. I mean, these people are just, they're everywhere, man. It's like it's horror movie, zombie, evolution, just evolution zombies on another level. To see that somebody's going to come in there and say that, oh, it happened, by chance. Yeah, it's just Mr. X. What's up, bro?
Hey, sorry about that earlier, but I'm at work, so things are gonna
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. No, it's cool.
Apologize, but I got to catch a little bit. I might got to get back tune in, and I loved your speech, and it's really resonating with me right now about the laws of stupidity. It's just so true. I think you're nailing it right there. You really are. Um, yeah, one thing about stupid people, they always think they're right. They always think they're right. They're very they always have the answer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
one thing. You can't tell them otherwise. It's like they think you're stupid. They just won't hear anything else. They've already got the solution to everything. And then I see that in everyday life. And also they react in the moment. They
Mm-hmm.
never think about the long-term implications.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that separates the stupid from the more intelligent people. They look at the big picture more, see what the implications are, whereas stupid people just react in the moment, and that's what makes them so dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. And we see the lack of thinking. I mean, we saw it the other day on the show with nothing against our friend, but
Hmm.
and I'm scared to bring it up, because you never know when it's going to trigger the whole rap scenario where
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm just like it boggles the mind. It really boggles the mind, and there's a lot of people that fall into that with
Mhm.
a lot of celebrities. Like they'll say it about musical actors, so musicians, and then they'll say it about actors in general, as if as if this person is not a minion of the state.
Right.
It just, yeah, it's shocking.
I've
It's
been watching a lot of these police videos, and this is what I always kind of thought before watching, about the prisoners and everything like that. But then it just kind of solidified it when I watch these police body cam videos. It's like the most of the people who are in jail or in prison are, uh, and there might be exceptions to the rule, but majority are just the stupid ones because you're given a million chances. It's like when you go to court in this country, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. If you have a decent lawyer, you can beat that pretty easily.
mhm.
But yeah, you find a lot of people who get locked up too. They're the stupid ones. Uh, they just yeah, they commit a crime. They don't do it very smart. Uh, Easy to get caught, but there's plenty of smart ones who never get caught. That's one thing for
Yeah,
certain. But the stupid ones, they always get caught. But yeah, they're dangerous also because they will react in emotion and in the moment, in the heat of the moment, and not think about the consequences.
yeah,
These are the people that will get into a fight or will do even worse bodily harm just in a fit of emotion. And yeah, and we see it
yeah,
on the stream too. Some guys come on here and they just go off and they can't stop. It's like,
yeah.
buddy, what's wrong with you? First off, you're talking to people that you don't really see in real life. There's no excuse to be so angry or have so much resentment. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like there's
Hmm.
nothing that goes on here that should make you feel that angry. There really isn't. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody here stole money from you or did something wrong to you. It's just maybe they had a difference of opinion or something, but there's nothing here on these platforms for somebody to get so angry and so emotional. That's called not thinking and just reacting to the moment. That's a sign of stupidity.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. And then, what they need to realize is that, again, stupidity is not an insult, it is a description. And if
Yes.
they say, well, it's like, well, remember, stupor, you're in a stupor, a daze, you're unaware. So it's like how you were saying, the criminal who is stupid that tries to get away can accidentally run into an innocent person.
Hmm.
And if they run over somebody who's innocent, you already see that and this shows us a good definition of acting stupidity, is that that person did not benefit in any way by running that person over. Like, they basically, now they're in more trouble, basically,
Hmm.
because that happened. And the fact that they did it without benefiting from it, you can see that, okay, it wasn't malicious, it wasn't on purpose, but this is dangerous because this person got ended because a person who was unaware, another word for stupid, um, because of their lack of attention, lack of paying attention to detail, somebody lost their life.
Hmm.
And um, and this person did not benefit. So it wasn't like they had a revenge or somebody paid them to do it. It was nothing like that. This person was just stupid.
Yes.
And this happens so much every day. I remember a teacher saying this back in high school once. He was saying, don't be a failure. He gave like an instance of somebody who went in to get a dental procedure, and the gas lines, I think, were hooked up incorrectly, and the person died. The person, the gas put them to sleep. They didn't ever woke back up. And I remember the teacher was saying, "Don't be a failure. Don't be a failure," because you look at something like that, you're trusting somebody like that, and something a simple, ignorant flaw, something stupid, basically, can make somebody lose their life just off of just I mean just like a really ridiculous something that could have been prevented.
Hmm.
We see this with chemical concoctions and stuff like that. Mike, the MAGA Mike, man, thank you, brother, for the support. Mike says, genuinely asking, not baiting, maxed out. Can you explain why they conduct over 50% of crime when they are 13% of the population? Okay. And I understand what you're asking, Mike. I appreciate the support, bro. This is a statistic that is widely drawn out of proportion because there are a lot of crimes that are committed that aren't listed as crimes. So the 13% committing 50% of what some would, I guess it would be putting there as violent crime, right? Now, when we say that, right, we're not dismissing the fact that the crime is happening. We're saying, look, we do see this happening. We do see this happening. But I had said before when I explained, and I'll do it again here for you, is that it to harp on one crime takes away from the problems of the other crime. America has a crime problem. It's not a color problem of crime. Now, the color are just the statistics. Like, let's look at, for instance, in this thing you're bringing up here. Let's look at the guy who they said, we saw the video, he stabbed a woman on the neck, right? Now they said they try to say that was, the problem, they try to put it on the guy's color, saying it was because he was black, right? Now, if anybody can look at that and say it's not because he's black, it's because he has mental illness.
Yeah.
So now we see how they twist it, how they'll say, oh, they're 13% of the population, but commit 50% of the crime, right? So now this is me going into the deeper explanation of this. That 13%, they did not commit that. That was committed by somebody who had a mental illness. So if we were to look into the statistic of how many mentally ill people there are in the US, like I can look it up. Okay. How many?
That's something that is a lot of people, unfortunately, are very uneducated about, and they ignore the signs of mental illness. They don't
Yeah.
see it because they're not educated about that.
Yeah.
And they allow these people to be on the streets.
Yeah.
And they don't get the care they need because they're kind of ignorant of it too. It's the laws of stupidity. You can't realize somebody's crazy.
Exactly.
Mental illness is very real. It's no different than cancer. It's a disease just like any other disease. It needs to be treated.
Yeah. Now, so to go in depth with Mike's question here too, to take it even further, is let's look at this too. And this is great. I know you're not baiting on this. This is a very good question. I appreciate it.
It's a legitimate question, I think.
Exactly. It's a very legitimate question, man. Appreciate the support and the question. Let's look at this the way scientifically it should be looked at. Because that guy that did that was mentally ill. The white guy that stabbed a woman in her neck in Oklahoma was mentally ill too. So if they were to say, well, this is a white guy that did that, no, that's a mentally ill guy who happens to be white. You can't put him being white as the first thing. The same thing with the PDF files, where they say that over 70% of them are classified as white males. Now, those males are classified. It should be said, those people, those are males with a mental disorder. So these males who are committing all of these crimes against the children have a mental disorder. 70% of those males happen to fall into this ethnic demographic.
But I wonder about that stat, Ebony. Can I comment on that real quick? Because I think with the white male population, I think the people press charges more often. They get caught. Like there's more of a persecution of that, meaning the child comes from parents who will persecute and file charges. Whereas I think in some of your poor neighborhoods, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but in some of the poor inner city neighborhoods, it goes unchecked, meaning it happens just as much, but the people never get prosecuted as much, I think. It's kind of looked over. But tell me if you think I'm wrong about that.
I mean, I would say that does happen to an extent. I wouldn't say that it happens, and this is totally speculation.
Sure.
I wouldn't say that it happens to the extent that would equal the numbers, but in trying to have the conversation about where somebody might say, well, the numbers would be equal and all of that.
But it's more of a percentage than a number, because obviously the number is going to be higher in one race.
Yeah. And also there are a lot that don't go reported just overall.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
So we do see that. So it's hard, but the main thing is like how Mike is saying when they say the 13% committing 50%. Remember, the people committing the crime, the majority of people that are committing the crimes, and these can go into the most serious crimes, rape, murder, other things, horrible. These people are not mentally stable. So the problem is the people that are committing these are from a group that would be considered mentally ill. So that wouldn't be from that 13%. It would be from the mentally ill part of that 13%. So some people will try to say, well, they're all that. And we know that that's not correct. because we do see professionals throughout society that are from that percentage of individuals they're trying to put the entire blame on, when the same people that are doing the PDF files in what they would call a white neighborhood are mentally afflicted people, just the way in the 13%. So the crime problem is coming from people with mental illness that happened in these crimes. The mental illness happened to come, the mentally ill are majority black. In these crimes, the mentally ill, the ethnicity happened to be white, which is still not as accurate because we know as we go deeper, these things change. So this is basically the way, the proper way I'm answering it for you, to say they try to bait people with that, saying 13% of the people. So when they say that, it's saying, wait a minute. So are all are all those people mentally ill? Because that guy who did that on the train does not represent the 13%. He represents a mentally he represents a problem of mental illness in America. And remember, the woman, the judge that let him out in 2025, right? The beginning of last year, when they were asking for psychiatric help for this guy. That judge that let him out was a black lady, if I remember correctly. Anybody can look that up. Light skinned black lady. So when we look at that, we go and we say, okay, somebody could try to say, okay, she's a judge, whatever. They could try to, put the crime statistics on her or whatever like that. But it doesn't stick because she's in a position of being a magistrate and she's a woman of color. How do you even get there? So that shows that she got there, she's following the law or something, or they voted her in. Now, even if what she did cause this, I don't see how it could cause the guy, but definitely he needed not to be let go, right? Um, Again, it comes from, we see the negligent part of it. We say, wait a second, this guy was supposed to be kept in here, but they let him go after. And he was asking, his mother asked, other people in the family asked that he get psychiatric help. So it does, it when we look at it, there is a problem with crime in America and there's a problem with mental illness. We see that
Yes,
with, the people committing that.
100% agree. And a lot of people, they don't see the signs until it's too late. Because I know I had family members who suffered from that, so I am very, very familiar with schizophrenia and mental illness. It's a very serious thing, and it's people don't realize how dangerous these people are because they see delusions. They can flip out in a second and attack you for no reason, and people just aren't aware. They're
Yeah.
uneducated. There's not enough education out there about this mental illness disease. That's the problem I see.
Yeah. No, it's true. And it's true. Responsive curve, you're right, man. Context matters a lot, man. They try to demonize people, and it's true. If the entire 13%, they try to act like, oh, they really spin that race thing with that 13%. They really do. And MAGA Mike says, is Islam compatible with the West? From everything I've seen on the news and social media, uh, it says no. But I want your unbiased opinion on this. Honestly, right? And this is a tough one here, is that there are some people in all religions that are compatible with the modern world. That's what I would call the Western. I will supplement it with modern, right? So we see that the majority of people coming from many of the countries are not compatible. And this comes from something that was played by somebody, I think it was like a high ranking Muslim guy. So this is not me saying, oh, this is, how I feel about it. And the way I feel about it is I think there's people from all religions that are never going to be compatible with technological world. Within all of those religions, there are going to be people, though. We see this. So this is not an opinion either. We see people that are religious, that are that are from all religions in high level tech positions. So, like today, I saw a lady that was driving a bus. She was a Muslim lady. She had the head thing on, very kind. She didn't she just following rules, didn't seem like nothing was out of the ordinary. And she didn't have the full face cover, but she had it on. And I said, the way she was driving was respectable. So that person right there is compatible with 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 the culture. Now I don't know who this is. If
And I
this is
mentioned something about the Islam because I find it so hilarious how most people on the left are very supportive of Islam, and then you got the MAGA Mikes, or I don't know if he is or not, but the Trump supporters are people on the right
Mhm.
who are against it. But it's like actually that would benefit men because men are considered much higher of importance in society than women. Women are actually held back in Islamic society. So I just find it entertaining how the left is so open arms about Islam when it goes against everything that they believe in, you know. So
Mhm. Well, again, what is happening with the whole Islam thing is that they're letting people into the country of these countries, and one of the guys, I think it was from United Arab Emirates or one of them, he was saying that they're doing this thinking they're going to get cheap labor, and
sure.
when they're doing that, they're starting to say, "Oh, this isn't working out." And now these people get radicalized. They get to a point
Hmm.
where, I mean, it gets creepy when you
Yeah.
think about it. What is going on? And it's not the immigrants to say, because when you think about it, it's like, okay, if they can stop things happening when they want to stop things happening. They can stop things happening, because when we saw what happened during the pandemic thing,
Hmm.
man, you couldn't say nothing. People were getting things shut down. No type of information was getting out there. Doctors and all of that stuff was feeling the brunt of it. Then later on, they say, oh, the fact checkers were just employees, right? Something like
Hmm.
that came up. Now the damage has already been done, because
Yeah.
if you hold the information back at that point, then when the information becomes known later on, nobody cares,
Yeah.
because everything that was wanted to get done with the agenda is done. So
Exactly.
it just when I look at this, I say to myself, like, wow, there are some stuff where there's a lot of religions that are not compatible with the West. There are some. It's not saying that they're not compatible ever. It's saying that a lot of these people are not willing to be compatible if they're not following the laws that are put into place. So it's not what anybody is saying as far as opinion wise. It's saying, okay, if you come over here and you're not abiding by the laws, then you're not, being compatible, basically.
Hmm.
So, and again, we have to be careful when we talk about stuff like this in being accurate about what we're saying, because it can be twisted, just like that 13% thing and all of that. They are really trying to set people against each other. I mean,
Yeah.
really, really trying to set people against each other. When I look at the black white thing, I mean, look at the whole thing with the dating and all of that and how it just crumbled. And I had mentioned this years ago. You look at like these guys that are against each other, and they always were scammers. We've seen that. But
Hmm.
now that it's come out, I mean, look at how low the whole Andrew Tate thing has rolled. I mean,
Oh
this
yeah.
guy's hanging out with the Beak and these guys. I mean, it's just
You saw what
it's
happened in Miami, right? When the
it's
incident occurred.
embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. And then
Yeah.
they showed Nick Fuentes standing there next to the Beak. tiny little, just, I thought it was a kid. I thought it was like a 12-year-old that was standing there. And I was like, that's Nick?
Hmm.
It's the guy that, no wonder he's so angry.
And it was just guys in the club. Where are all the girls?
Oh, it was like,
These are
yeah,
supposed to be the dating masters. There's no women
yeah,
to be found. There are
yeah.
these thousands of dollars for a table at some expensive nightclub in Miami, and there's no freaking women. It's just a bunch of goofballs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. They're really, really messed up
I know.
to the point where,
But then you got to wonder about the followers and their supporters and the don't,
oh
the
yeah.
people who donate and pay them for their great
Well, remember,
advice.
they'll play into what somebody wants to hear just to drain those people. And they've done it. I
Exactly.
mean, Tate, he was on camera talking about how he did that. And I'm very surprised. MAGA Mike says, so why is MAGA shutting the border and preventing non compatible Muslims from invading the country bad? Um, well, this is the thing, is that when people want to come into the country, right? The only thing that's going to prevent them is that can legally prevent them is the law, is the federal law. So why, and this is the thing with MAGA, if it's MAGA supporters that are shutting the border down, that's where you see that the government isn't doing their job. So the government, see, it has to work on rules. It has to say, well, wait a second, we're going to have these laws that prevent illegal immigration. If you come through, you come through this avenue. And the same thing with the northern border, right? What are they saying? Like 10 to 30,000 um, people come from the south, which would come from Mexico,
Hmm.
or court, they're saying, coming in from the north. So now we have that, but not many people are talking about stopping the northern border. So that should bring up a red flag too. But when I look up the mental illness, it says millions, and this is an AI overview, millions of Americans experience mental illness, right? So the recent data they're saying is that 1 in 4, over 60 million, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
1 in 4 has mental illness in the past year, and about 1 in 20 have serious mental illness. So say 14 million. So now if we looked at the 60%, I mean the what does it say here? It says 60 million adults, 1 in 4. So that would be 25%, right? So
Yeah.
so now it's not 13% that's committing 50% of the crime. If you're looking at these crimes as being, these are, somebody has to be mentally ill to commit what a lot of things that we're seeing.
Definitely the ones who
So
get caught for sure.
yeah. So if we just kept it on that and we say, well, 25% are committing 50% of the crimes. 25% of who? Of what? 25% of mentally ill Americans. And that's the way to properly put that.
I agree.
So now when we say that, it takes the bite out of it. It takes the bite out of it to where, um, I mean, look, and you're right. Nick Fuentes and Tate are clowns, man. The fact that they were pushing the whole MAGA thing hard in the beginning, especially Myron Gaines and them. They were pushing that. Now that the I guess uh, the Miami Beach mayor came out and said
Yeah, he
something.
was he was angry about it, and that that we shouldn't allow that out here in the city of Miami Beach. Of course, it's very um, anti-Semitism is taken very seriously at Miami Beach. Of course, there's a strong community.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't want to say anything wrong here. Get everything flagged. It's a good. But it's a strong community there. So of course it's going to be met with resistance.
Hmm.
Um, heavy resistance. I mean, I understand why they did it for publicity stunt, and it worked because they got national attention from it.
Yeah.
So I get why they do it, you know.
I'm
But
surprised they haven't been canceled.
yeah, I'm sure they're on a short leash, but I guess.
I mean, Tate was saying something about he has like partners in Israel or something, or like certain clients.
Hmm.
And, when I look at that, it's like this guy was supposed to be so big, and now he's like reduced to hanging out with Clavicular and Sneeko. I mean,
Sneeko.
it's like embarrassing, man. And his brother is sporting the pink suit. A lot of stuff is coming out that I had spoken about. What's crazy is after all of that stuff, Hogwood wanted to get next to Tate, and Tate even called that guy a PDF file.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal when you think about it. It's like, what's that saying? Every dog has his day, right?
Yeah, but they should never have had a day to begin with, you know? I mean, it says
Yeah,
something
yeah,
about society that they look at these guys as so they can give good advice. And it's just, no, they can't. Now, I'll admit, I've watched Fresh and Fit a few times, and sometimes it's entertaining. You know what I mean? I'm going to be fair about it. I mean, Myron, I don't think is a stupid guy. You know, he does know how to speak and articulate and form arguments and so forth. I mean, the other guy, I forget his name, the bullfrog, but he makes no sense at all. But yeah, yeah, it's. I mean, I think that's why you couldn't continue this, what we did in the past because I think that era. This is like, I mean, they're not even talking about dating now. They've gone totally done a 180 and they're just getting involved in other things that have nothing to do with dating or pickup or anything like that. And it's just getting politically extremist. That seems to be the new outlet, the new
yeah.
grift, if you want to call it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. We already saw it was like a closet network, and
Hmm.
now that's coming out in the light. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Alexis says, "Who is Clavicular and Sneeko?" Well, they were two, and I think they're still YouTubers, both of them. One is like a Clavicular is their new looks maxing type of guy who's very odd. Like he tries to go around. He was on Fresh and Fit, I think like a month or two ago. Definitely what they're trying to take the looks maxing in that direction. He very odd, claims to use certain illegal substances and do like bone therapy or something. And then Sneeko is the guy with Myron Gaines. He's the I don't know if he's like part Haitian or something. I'm not
Part
sure.
Filipino, I think. He's
Oh,
part
okay.
Filipino.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
so
he's like their
he
sidekick, Sneeko. He's like
yeah,
their
he so Sneeko is the sidekick.
yeah.
And he's been YouTubing, I guess, for over 10 years since he was a kid. Like he's one of those kids that have the videos when he's a teenager, um, and I guess got very known. And I think he got banned at one point and put back on, so he's back. And again, banned from hanging with these guys. I think Tate was banned as well, and so is of course Fuentes is banned, right? From from
He's making
from
a lot of videos, so I don't know.
well, they're really pushing his stuff. And remember, this whole crew, it came from the people when we used to talk about a lot of the stuff with the dating. We started to see how these guys were. We started to see just how backstabbing they were. The people that they had taken advantage of came over to our stream to be able to talk about stuff like that. But not many people want to know about that. The fact that they looked at anybody speaking out against them as uh, as bad, and then the guys that are actually taking advantage of them as good
Mhm.
showed a serious problem in there, like of corruption. And people that had contacted me that had came on the old show that were talking about what they were doing, realized, I mean, I didn't know until then that I was the only place that they could speak out against dating coaches and stuff that had used them or had taken advantage of them, um, overcharged them and stuff like that. So yeah, Clavicular and Sneeko are like two failed dating coaches that they're trying to get people to follow them, to say, okay, we already see Tate and his brother lingering there, Sneeko, Myron Gaines, and then they have their little mascot like a troll. I mean, if anybody sees Fuentes in the pictures, it's almost unbelievable when you look at it. You say, what the heck is that? And you wonder when you see it, you say, oh, now I see why he's possibly so angry all the time. He's a very small guy, and nothing against people that are small. It's saying that anybody can put two plus two together and say, oh, this guy has not been treated the most kindly by women. And then there were things in the club where a guy came over to him saying, hey, we got some chicks, you want me to bring them over? And he basically is like, he didn't want that. So it's like, well, what are you hanging out at the club for then? What did you guys, and like you said, Mr. X, you go to the club and you see them, it's all dudes there.
Yeah.
It just, yeah, exactly, Alexis. Thank you, brother, for the support, bro. Alexis says, wait, Fuentes is now hanging out with red pill grifters. Yes, yes. Matter of fact, if you type in, I think they were calling it the Nazi Party, the red pill Nazi Party, the red pill grift Nazi Party. You'll see a lot of people have videos, and they took a snapshot with Tate, Fuentes, and Myron Gaines. And then next to him, I think, is Tate's brother. And then you see Sneeko and Clavicular and the other guy. There's another guy there too. He's a weird, he's another grifter. I forgot his name. His eyes are kind of too close together. Tries to, I forgot his name. Tries
But
to,
they've adopted black pill talking points now. All these red pill, they're speaking, they're preaching the black pill now.
yeah.
It's all
Oh,
about
they're
looks.
trying. That's
Yeah.
what Clavicular, they tried to bring him for that. Yeah. And he
Yeah.
was always sus. Always sus.
Hmm.
That guy is so sus. I mean, all he does is try to insult women on
Yeah.
like looks there and stuff. And what they don't realize, it's like, dude, doesn't matter. Women can be whatever. They're going to pull, they're going to have guys
Oh, of
coming to
course.
talk to them. Yeah. Don't think that the majority of guys, what these guys are doing, they're basically doing what Donovan Sharp said he was doing. They're selling hate. So selling hate to people, you'll see how that we already see their response, Brother
There's a big
Arabian.
market for that, though, MD. There's a big market of men with anger issues like that. So
Oh yeah,
know
yeah.
what they're doing.
Oh yeah, yeah. They know their audience. They definitely, Brother Ali, brother. Thank you for the support, brother. Brother Ali says Fuentes has always hung around red pill grifters and so-called neo Nazis. That's a good way to put it, man. Guy supports Trump and Nazis 1 minute, then he goes against the same crowd he grifts from. Absolutely, bro. He flips like the wind. I've noticed that with Fuentes. Yeah, I clearly yeah, the fact that he was supporting the nuts, and then Trump, and then yes, exactly. He went from one grift and then went straight over to the other one, and he went against the people that he grifts. Absolutely, bro. I'm surprised to see the mental instability, and that their own supporters are not calling it out to say, wait a second, something is kind of odd there. Alexis Jun, thank you, brother, for the support. Alexis says, is Fuentes an actor or is he really like this?
He's an
When
actor.
yeah, right. It kind of seems he's kind of acting. You think?
Yeah, I think it's a total act. I really do. I can see through it. I mean, but it's a smart act. It's going to get publicity. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, yeah. No, he he. When I look at some of the stuff he says, it does seem like an act in many senses. Now, he could feel that way too, but he is clearly acting the part. I mean, the way you look at the way he starts to use his hands now, more
Hmm.
animated. And I've only seen clips that everybody's playing, but I've noticed he's much more animated with the hands. And some of his talking points, again, they'll reloop them. They'll just the way they do with the political stuff, with the 13%, with all of this other stuff like that. Guys try to trigger people with that. And it's actually it's a point that we could see works because people get triggered. You have guys making videos talking about, well, if 13% of certain animals was causing 50% of the problem and this and that. And again, as I showed earlier, it's done in such an incorrect context because it's not 13%. It's whatever percentage has mental illness.
Hmm.
So if this 25% out of we saw 60 million is committing 50% of the crime, what do you think we should do? Well, I think we should look into mental illness. I think we should look into why these people are committing these crimes. Now, when they stick on the 13%, remember, they try to stick on that to get the person to give the answer that they want them to give. So they know that, okay, if they orchestrate the question with the 13%, with the black on black crime, with the violent crime and stuff like that, the percentage of crime, that somebody might say and come to that wrong conclusion of saying that, oh, it's committed by these people, but it's not. It's committed by people with mental illness. And a large percentage of those people, somebody could even go to say, fits in these categories, but it cannot be said that it's all those people. Brother Ali says Fuentes got busted for streaming T-Corn whole and bringing a femboy with them. Holy smoke. I heard something about that, but I didn't know if they brought a femboy with them to the clubs. Holy smokes. Streaming T-Corn. These dudes are on another level, man. I mean, what is it with the claws?
It's everywhere. Yeah, it's they play a big role in media, that's for sure. You know.
Holy smokes. That is crazy.
Hmm.
That is crazy, man. I mean, and again, what these guys are doing it can fall right into the mental illness category too.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't believe they brought a femboy to the club. That is insane. And I heard something about femboy, but I didn't look into it. But I did hear the word and I didn't realize what they were talking about. Holy smokes, man. That is like, you know, it really makes you wonder. Like when I saw that picture with them at the club and I saw the way Nick was kind of like cowering next to Myron, and I'm like, I mean, it was clear. Like when you see the picture of Nick with those other guys and you see the difference and you say, oh, yeah, now I see what's up. But those other guys, the weird thing is, you would think that, and this is the funniest thing about these grifters, man. Brother Ali says Fuentes literally said straight sex is wow. Oh, it's coming out. It's all coming out. Yep. It just you give them enough time and it comes out, man. You give them enough time. We saw it in the other parts, right? We saw it on how many people came out, and what was it? A Hammer Queen that eventually wore the wig. It was just waiting to do that, waiting. When a guy is there and he does something like that, where he puts on the makeup and puts on the outfit, he was always waiting to do that.
Yeah.
He was always waiting to do that. He probably wore dresses when he was a teenager. I mean, Hammer Closet Hand is a creepy character, and
They
that's another.
disappeared, didn't they? The Undead Chronic. I don't hear them anymore. They're kind of gone, right?
Yeah, no, I think they're still around. They could be gone, but I wouldn't. Again, roaches are hard to exterminate sometimes. The internet could have done it, but I'm not too sure if and that basically is what they consider themselves. So it's not even like not even an insult, because it's like as if they're proud of being that. And they've been grifting for a while. But on the other end, and again, the one thing they have in common is them and the red pill grifters, which they are red pill grifters too, Closet Hand and them. There's something very suspicious about all of them.
Yeah, especially their anger with women. That's a red flag right there.
Oh yeah, it's just it's on another level. Brother Ali says Undead Chronic and Hammer Queen kind of died out because Fresh and Fit and Pearl Davis out trumped them. Wow, I didn't know. I heard they're roasting Pearl now too. Like, I've been seeing a lot of videos where I guess some of the black YouTube space were calling her out for I guess talking about a lot of issues that were central to black males, and she wasn't calling out anybody but that. So I guess she kind of
going on the streams and debating them too.
like she kind of made it her niche or something like that.
Yeah.
To where that's all she did. And I think somebody had tested her and she didn't know the stats to something else. And I think it was that attorney guy, and he was saying, yeah, she only knows stats for black males. Kind of like, again, when they think of, they get taught these talking points, like the 13% one is another talking point. But we easily see how to debunk that. We easily see that. And I'm so glad that Mike brought that up. MAGA Mike, really put that out there to be like, hey, you know what, he wants to know. And I think now that it was explained easily, because that's the only way to explain it, to where a person would say, okay, I understand it now. When they say 13% commit 50% of the crime, we could say, no, that crime was committed by, these crimes are committed by people that are not mentally stable. So 23.4%, close to 25%, right? Experience any type of mental illness in 2024. So that the people that are doing those type of crimes are mentally ill. So you're looking at 25%, let's just say, are committing 50% of those crimes. So if somebody were to say, well, what do you do now? Just the way they try to bait people and say, well, what do you do with those 13%? Well, now that it's not 13%, it's 25%. And that 25% comes in many different colors. We do see that. Now, what do we propose we do? So now it changes the whole concept of it. We see that how it was created in a race baiting kind of way. Just like we know that, like how you were saying, Mr. X, other people that commit those other crimes with the PDF files do come in different communities of color. The majority might not be in community of color, but we know that that crime, again, is committed by people that are mentally ill. So to put it again, just the way they frame the 13% question and the 50% of what is being done is the same way they can frame the PDF file question. But we know that it doesn't fall on a color because it's being committed by many different types of people. The majority of those people fall into a certain ethnic background, but that does not mean all of them. And again, the crime is a crime that is horrendous, but it's committed. The one of the attributes that's in line with other people that commit crimes is mental illness. So we start to say those crimes as well are committed by that. And if we look deeper, we start to say, oh, again, the common denominator is not color, it's not ethnicity, it is mental illness. So this brings us all closer together into seeing that it is a behavior. Brother Ali
Agreed.
says, funny thing is, Pearlie's mom is a feminist and work for UN. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, and I think her father's rich or something, like a millionaire or something. Like she had. I heard a rumor. This was over a year ago, maybe 2 or more years. I heard that she signed a black British YouTuber, King Riches, he calls himself. I don't know if it's true, but they're saying that she signed him to a contract for 10,000, I think it was. And this might have been about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And I think Solo TV got jealous and he wanted to be signed for that much. And I don't think she was willing to give him that much. And they fell out of favor with each other. But yeah, there was something. I heard her father was wealthy. I heard he had money. Brother Ali says they're both rich, and someone said she didn't have these RP views, and it's just in for money. Wow, wow. So she jumped in there to grift. So Pearlie is on the grift. Oh my goodness, bro. This is just, it keeps getting deeper and deeper when you think about it. The Oh my, I'm surprised she wasn't at the club with these guys. And Pearlie's
Yeah,
a big chick.
Pearlie.
Yeah, she's not a little girl. She's not a little girl.
Oh,
She's a
she's a
big
big
girl.
lady.
Huh?
Yeah, she's a big girl. She's a big girl. She's pretty tall.
Yeah, she's like 6'1" or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't listen to her that often, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, I have
I don't
never
know.
listened to one of her live streams. I've seen clips and stuff, but she's
Yeah.
not I just don't feel like there's nothing when she speaks that's gripping to get me to want to listen to it.
Yeah.
So it's like, what am I even, unless it's a clip that somebody has that, you know, I think Abba and Preach had a video. It kept popping up. They were saying like, I don't know. I guess a lot of people started to come down on her. I don't know if maybe she said something that was very controversial or something like that. Brother Ali says he would do her.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not. Yeah, she's definitely not the wifey. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of. She's kind of. Yeah, she's a big girl. She's. Yeah, there's something like. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, she's kind of. That's something. She jumped in. It didn't have these views before, and she jumped in it for the money, for the red pill. The amount of grift that is still left in the red pill and the dating thing, it shocks me. It shocks me to see that people are still falling for
Yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah.
sad.
I mean, and
But
then to see the party that they did recently in this Miami thing was just, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
yeah.
It's like, you have to be kidding me. This is, I mean, it's like, wow, wow. And I thought about when I saw the mayor's response, I thought about what you were saying, like publicity stunt,
Right.
and they got known. But I'm wondering if it really worked. Like, is it too late for them? Do too many people see through it? Because I
Mm,
think what they tried to do might have backfired.
time will tell for sure. Time will tell. I can't say either or. Um, I just wonder, it's based on their crowd that they attract.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, definitely they can get people noticing them and want to debate them or want to argue with them. And that's, bad publicity is still publicity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think with when people see the picture with Nick and them, right? So it's about I think 5 or 6 of them in the picture. That's going to, if anybody, well, again, yeah, if they have common sense in their head, looking at that picture, seeing the way he is standing in the picture, like almost like cowering, standing with like your neck in a position where it's a little bit of a cowering, not standing, with your head back and your, shoulders broad. And Tate has a habit of having a slumped, like weird posture.
Oh, yeah.
Um, sometimes, like I've noticed it on a few of them, but when they see the Fuentes picture with them, I mean, you can see the insecurity screaming out from him. I mean, it's sad when you look at it. The really sad thing is looking at the picture and saying, "Hey, is that a kid or like who's that with them?" And then you realize, oh, that's the most outspoken one. That's the one that's constantly spewing openly bigoted views. I mean, some of the stuff he said, I was just like, whoa, that's I'm surprised people aren't coming out saying stuff more.
Mhm.
But seeing him, it explains a lot now in comparison to the other people that were there. I mean, Sneeko is not a short guy, but when you look at Sneeko, I mean, you could already see it never began.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like if you took a character from the Muppets and turned it into a real human. That's
Oh,
what
jeez.
it would be Sneeko. Yeah, something like he's like he's like from Bert and Ernie from the Sesame Street. He's like
Oh,
Bert's goofy brother, kind of. So
yeah.
Bert was like the taller one, I think, from Bert and Ernie or something.
Hmm. He had the bigger
Yeah.
head. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Sneeko's just kind of, and as a person, I don't know him. I mean, he might be a funny guy, whatever I know, but the fact that he's hanging with that crew, I don't think that's not that's not cool, And I mean, the fact that they're pushing that song by Kanye too, I was just like, wow, man. Brother Arabian, Brother Ali, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Brother Ali says all press is good press. Hollywood. Yeah, man. I think about that saying so much where, I think it's been said also that there's no such thing as bad publicity. And I wonder, yeah, I'm just like, man, that saying rings so true that when you think about it and you think that could there be, something different, but I think you hit it on the button. All press is good press. All
Yeah. I
press
mean, when
is
their
good.
videos flash on YouTube and they put some controversial title on there, a lot of people are going to click it, want to see what would they say this time. They want to hear it, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't seen through the illusion with that fight with Tate that happened. I mean, that thing was. I didn't see the whole thing, but just the clips and the pieces was. It was very ritual. It was very very ritual type of. I mean, the pink gloves.
I didn't see it.
I mean, just
Gloves.
the clips. You don't have to see it. Like if you just typing in the pictures and seeing the pictures on Google, not even the video,
Hmm.
something extremely suspicious about the whole thing. Like, I mean, very staged, very humiliation ritual, something very, very, very odd about it. Very odd. Yeah, it should be Hollywood. It is. Yeah, it's Hollywood. It just yeah, hype pill is real, bro. Hype pill is so real, man. It just when I saw that picture, I said, wait, I said, what who is that? And I mean, it literally is I don't know if you saw it, Mr. X, like the pictures they had in the club.
I just saw briefly because it was on the news down here. They were showing it
Okay.
because it was a big deal
Yeah.
down here on the local news. I just saw them, doing the hand gesture in the club with the song going.
Hmm.
That's what I saw. Then they were also on the bus too. They went to on
Yeah.
the party bus before they got there, but there was no girls even on the bus.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
women to be seen for miles.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Just straight sausage party. Just
exactly.
100%. Yeah. They just, and on the bus, it, it just looked like a bunch of dudes, kind of corny. But when they were in the club and they were standing and he took the picture, and that's when I was like, whoa, this is not, I could see why these guys are in a way so angry at the the hand that life dealt them, basically. Um, and then on top of that, if he's not looking to get with chicks, it's as if I hear these guys and all they talk about is all they're trying to do is complain. They're only complaining about women that aren't subservient to them. And to me, it's hilarious because when you look at them and it's like these guys are like buffoons trying to force women to like them. That's basically what it comes down to. It's like they're not even trying to just say, "Hey, you know what? Okay, if they're going to be themselves, women are probably never going to like them anyway." But what they're doing is not increasing. It's not improving the situation. I mean, the first thing they had to do is they never became men. That's the crazy thing.
But is that even their goal? I don't even know. It's
Yeah,
questionable.
you're right. You're right. It's like I'm over here thinking this. Meanwhile, they're already, we already know what they're looking for, and it ain't women. It
Yeah.
ain't. It ain't going to be nothing feminine really. And
Hmm.
then they're going to try to act like they can teach other guys, and that's the craziest thing.
I think they're tapping into that lonely male epidemic that's out there.
Yeah,
That's what they're tapping into, and they're going to be the messiah for them, basically. These guys
it's sad.
who, yeah, aren't meeting women, and it's out there. The stats prove it that this is probably one of the worst. It's getting worse every year. Less
It's crazy.
relationships and more male single men without any prospects of a relationship.
Hmm. Yeah, these. It's funny because the one guy in the suit that looks like he's taking juice or something, and he's trying on the boat or something they're at. There was a clip. He was trying to talk to Clavicular, and it was like he was more interested in talking to that guy than chicks.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what the heck? So you want to go out on a Friday night, or I guess it was Thursday night. They went out the other day, and they just want to hang out and talk with dudes, and not even hanging out talking with dudes having a fun time.
Hmm.
They're hanging out with dudes angry at women.
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing. And their audience are buffoons too. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, EC. Yeah, exactly, man. Yep, their audience are buffoons too, man. To
I could
see,
see if they're at a sports event or something, but they went to a freaking club and you're not with any girls. You're
yep,
booking a table, which is expensive, thousands of dollars, and you're not with any girls at a club. That's inexcusable for these so-called influencers.
yep,
Yeah, that's a dead giveaway. That if you can't wake up from that to find out these guys are fake, then I don't know what to tell you.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I mean, the fact that people were following him with the top G thing,
Hmm.
and I guess when he came out or something happened, and they started calling him Bottom G,
Hmm.
and then he went through the stuff that he went through, and I mean, just the boasting and stuff like that. It
Yeah.
just, yeah,
I mean, what kind of men, a group of men go, I understand going to a sporting event, you rent a suite or something, a hockey game or a basketball game, because that's what they could have done. They could have gone to Miami Heat game and rented a suite and done their routine. No, they
hmm
went to a freaking club, and they're just hanging out with a bunch of guys.
hmm
I mean, wake up. These guys are not probably hetero at this point. I mean, wake up. What other guys do that at a club with music and they just dance with each other? I mean, this is sad that people can't see through it.
Yeah. Dancing with each other. You hit it on the button.
Yeah.
You hit it on the button, man. The bottom G meme was from an Afro British guy from Germany who looked like Tate and is a, oh, wow, he's a G cell. Holy smokes. Wow. That is crazy, man. The fact that, man, they, and you hit it on the button with going out to the club with no chicks. That's crazy. And, you know, when you think about, and this says a lot, these guys are supposed to be well known. You would think that women would be there. But when you see that somebody is that known and no women are around, that's a red flag right there.
Big time. And they're not around because they don't want them around. Because plenty of women, not that they want them so much, but they want the publicity. You
Yep.
know, they would go there just to get the publicity. You know, that's what
Mhm.
women do, especially if you order, if you rent one of those table service, which is thousands of dollars. There's plenty of women that'll show up just to get the
Mm,
publicity, get the or whatever, even get paid, but nothing, zero. You know, so they didn't want any women around. That's the reality.
exactly. Exactly. That you're exactly right. They didn't, they made sure that they pushed that vibe out there. The statistics that I was looking up for MAGA Mike, it also has something where it says lifetime prevalence. 46% of Americans will meet the criteria for a diagnosable mental health condition at some points in their lives. So if we take that 46% and they try to say, again, it's mental illness that causes people to do these crimes. So if you have 46% committing 50% of the crime, now that number sounds, you know, there is no racial thing to that because the 46% are mixed, all people with mental health conditions. By age, young adults 18 to 25 have the highest rates, over 36% experiencing the mental illness. So now, when we look at that, 36%, because we know a lot of these crimes are committed within that age range, 18 to
Oh yeah.
25.
Well, they said
So,
the prison system's filled with mentally ill now. It's
yeah,
become the new
exactly.
asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 36% now, 18 to 25, have the highest rates of mental illness with 30
Hmm.
with over 36%. So if somebody would just to use that one instead of the 46% of all Americans, if they say, well, 36% are committing 50% of the crime, you'd say, well, which 36% is that? That is um you know, that is basically the youth between 18 and 25 that have mental illness. Again, color is not there because now we're dealing with behavior, and that whole, we start to see just how they try to build up this 13%. Oh, 13% of these people commit 50% of the crime. That's not true, because not all of the 13% of those people are committing crimes. We know that all of these crimes are committed by people that have some type of mental health problem. And to make it even more of a mix up is that out of the 46% that have the mental illness at some point in their lives, not even all of them are going to commit crimes. So it's even a lower percentage within that, because it's not all 46% of people with mental illness that are committing the crimes. It could be a certain, say, 10% of those 46% that are doing it. So now it you start to boil it down and say, okay, it's the ones with more of a serious mental problem. That could be it. Blinn, what's up? Good to see you, man. He says Trump wants to bring back. Wow, that is crazy, man. That is crazy. when you think about
Mm.
that. Because I
Well,
heard
you're
they
in New
don't.
York, though. You see the effects of not having asylums. I mean, it's all over the place. I mean, I haven't been to New York in years, the city, but I remember Penn Station was basically an asylum. It's everywhere.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's a big time. It just, and you know the thing is I think they stopped calling them mental asylums. They now that I think the word is psychiatric hospital.
Yeah, it's the
It
same
just like,
thing.
yeah, like
Different
handicapped.
wording.
They don't call it that. They call it disabled, physically disabled.
Well, in the past, you look at some old videos of these mental asylums, these mental hospitals, and some of the techniques they used were really brutal on these patients.
Oh yeah.
And they would be treated inhumanely. I think Geraldo Rivera did an expose on that. I forget the name of the place. It started with a W. He exposed the treatment at the mental asylum, how they were being treated. So it's got a bad reputation based on the past, but at the same time, they are needed. I mean, because you just cannot have them. And I speak from experience. I had family members with these problems. They cannot be let loose in society without treatment. It's a detriment to everybody. They
Yeah.
are not safe to be around. I mean, that they have to be treated. It's a real disease.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand the humanity and treating people good, but I don't. I think they're just not aware of how bad of a disease this really is. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's this is the biggest problem in the world, like Frank Zappa said, is mental illness.
Yep.
Because if we could cure that, we can fix every other problem. Because
Yes.
part of the problems is that if we're not thinking straight, how are we going to solve any problem? It's like, so the mental illness problem is very, very important to take a look at. But just even in that, people are denying that it even exists. Like they'll, again, and that's why I'm glad Mike brought that up, because it really shows how it's on different fronts with that. T Raf, brother, thank you for the support, T Raf. Always a pleasure, man, to see you here. Always, bro. Thank you,
Well,
man.
the people who deny it exists are probably also uneducated about it too. Just because you don't know anybody, you've never experienced it, doesn't, that's again, that defies that. It's a definition of the laws of stupidity. It just you're living in a stupor. Just because you haven't experienced it or you don't know much about it, you assume that it's not real when it is.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely it we see that the mental illness, that if it's not addressed, these people can be used to, they basically they weaponize them. When we saw what happened on that train, I mean, it was horrible. It was
Yeah.
horrible. And it was used to spark up a hatred. I mean, look at
Sure.
the kid that a couple years prior, he went up in a church, I think, right? And he opened fire, Dylan something.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Was it Radigan or something like that? I can't
yeah, I
remember. Yeah.
forgot his name, Dylan, and it was, I think it was South Carolina. And I
Hmm.
mean, everybody in the church, I mean, they could have, they didn't change that into the issue. Like they could have radicalized that, what happened, and said, oh, look, everybody in the church were, they tried to make it racial at first, but it didn't stick.
Hmm.
For some reason, the papers and all of that were coming out. The whole propaganda machine came out on that one, and now people rarely remember that incident.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one in Buffalo, New York, where the guy started
Oh, I saw
shooting.
that video too. I remember my daughter had the actual video because
Yeah,
he had taped it with a camera, but on the body cam, and it was
yeah.
pretty horrific. Yeah.
Oh man, the mental illness. And this is what we see, that in society, we see when people snap, or maybe they're Manchurian candidated. We don't know.
Hmm.
But we know one thing for sure is that they snapped and went buck wild in society that cost a lot of people their lives.
Yeah.
And when I found out that one of the people that were ended in the Buffalo shooting, he was a man that was working on an engine that worked on, I think it was water or something, but definitely
Oh
not
wow.
gasoline, and he can be found. I don't know if his videos are still up on YouTube. That, and then also with the church that was shot up by the Dillon guy. I think one of the people in there that was ended was a senator.
Hmm.
So when you look at that, you say, wait a minute, how is that a senator, a United States senator? You think this was by chance that this guy walked in there and did that? It really seems Manchurian when we look at it more. We start to say the Manchurian candidate scenario is very plausible for some situations. It can't be proven.
Well, MK Ultra is not conspiracy theory. That's admitted by the CIA, mind control. The mind control
Exactly.
experiments in the Monarch
Yeah.
program, which was under the MK Ultra. No, MK Ultra was under the Monarch mind control program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was a branch of that. But that's CIA. That's admitted that they were practicing mind controls. And I think even it was related to Project Paperclip, where they had some of the from World War II, the doctors from Germany coming over and participating in that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's all admitted. That's all admitted mind control, which ties into the Manchurian candidate. They did experiments like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
The amount of mind control experiment. Right now, we're in a mind control experiment.
sure.
The school was a mind control experiment. Every time we go to the supermarket, mind control experiment. It's like the United States of experiments. The world is one big experiment with different laboratories all across the continents, just constantly doing some type of test on us. And it points towards something else being behind the scenes,
Yes.
using humans to experiment, it seems like, on the rest of the world, on life, any type of life. Like if we're doing the experiments for it, for something that can't do the experiments itself, or is needed to do something more important, and saying, you know what, program the humans to do these experiments,
Hmm.
and we're doing them, and we'll go even as far as to do them on ourselves, on each other, because we see it with the Pavlov's dogs. um, a lot of people didn't know that there were also Pavlov's humans, that just the way the dogs had the saliva tubes hooked up to their mouths, humans had that done to them as well. And the pictures are horrific. I mean, when you look at the fact that they would ring a bell and condition somebody to salivate and measure the amount of salivation, because it would go into the tube that was attached to the side of the cheek after they cut a hole into the cheek so the saliva would drip into the tube. I mean, very, very uh like almost unbelievable level of cruelty in an experiment. I mean, I think it was World War II. I don't think it was World War One. I think it was World War II, and the Korean War, maybe. I don't know if you knew this. They used pigeons to to hone in on battleships. Um, Let me see if I can to uh, to guide missiles to battleships. Okay, Project Pigeon, later Project Orcon, was a World War II era initiative by psychologist B.F. Skinner to train pigeons to guide missiles to enemy ships using operant conditions. This pigeons. Now this is crazy. This is like, yeah, and Unit 731. Yes, I did hear about 731. There was another one, right, in America that had offered GIs some type of like pension if they would survive the trials, and nobody survived it. I forgot what it was called. I don't think it was 730. 731, I think, was the Japanese unit, I think. I think that was 731. Yeah, yeah, the Japanese unit that they used to do experiments on Chinese prisoners. I think
Mm.
731 was brutal, man. That was brutal. But these targeted these birds, right? The concept, they called it organic control. Placed three trained pigeons in a nose cone with a lens projecting an image of the ground sea below onto a screen in front of them. The birds were trained to peck at specific targets, the battleship on the screen, and uh, a central correct peck sent an electrical signal to keep the missile on course, while off-center pecks adjusted the flight path to match the target's movement. Holy smokes.
Mm.
Using three birds allowed for a majority rule system where the missiles would follow the consensus of the pigeons, reducing error rates. Wow. So they could track these targets, ignore distractions like clouds or flak. Despite initial skepticism, the system worked during tests. The pigeons were found to be effective even under high vibration simulated battle conditions. This is like, I mean, they said the project was canceled because military officials found it difficult to take seriously, and more promising technologies like radar guided missiles became available, rendering the need for bird guided systems obsolete.
Mm.
I mean, just the fact that they were using birds to peck at something like that, it just, I mean, I don't even, I mean, you look at that level, it's like, wow. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
holy smokes.
Crazier than people realize what went on in this world. We're taught that in school, that's for sure.
So they're saying that homing pigeons too were used as backup. This is yeah, this is like yeah, 731 was the Japanese one. I've been trying to find that other unit. It was an American unit. Uh American unit experimented. So experimented on in the USA. Various unethical human experiments funded by the US government occurred in the mid 20th century. Wow. So they had one, the Cincinnati radiation experiments. That was another one. My goodness, man. Just looking at some of these experiments is like patient selection. Oh my goodness. I mean, this, when I look at stuff like this, it's like it comes to a point where I don't even know what to say sometimes when I think about this. Just, yeah, this is like some real, just the fact that anybody can look this up, the MK Ultra tests. It said with many, but not all subjects dying or suffering severe harm. Holy smokes. And they don't even give a number. And that's a 20-year study from 53 to 73 of the, wow, Edgewood Arsenic Arsenal. So Edgewood was more, wow. You know, just the fact that all of these experiments pop up when
Hmm.
you type something in like that, American unit experimented on in USA, all died. I mean, plutonium injections. This is
Yeah.
that's, I mean, holy smokes, man. Because there was
Yeah.
one done on soldiers, and none of the soldiers survived. And these were soldiers in America. And it wasn't like the Tuskegee, when they say, okay, Tuskegee was majority black men. They had ones that were all white experiments too, to
Oh
show,
yeah.
like, look, they're doing this to all the humans. And it's not to
Yes.
diminish what they're doing to one type, it's to say, listen, everybody is at risk. And they always try to turn it to where it's into some racial thing, but soon people will be able to detect that and say, wait a minute, this is bull, because they've been using that thing to turn people against each other constantly. I mean, yeah, it just constantly. They're saying the Edgewood Arsenal human experiments, not to be confused with MK Ultra. On, yeah, this one you're looking at almost, wow, 50, 60, 70, almost another 30-year experiment. And it involved over 254 chemical substances, but it focused mainly on mid-spectrum wow, incapacitants. So basically to incapacitate a person, such as LSD, THC, benzo. This is the amount of stuff. Yeah.
And in the movie Clockwork Orange, that's what Stanley Kubrick alluded to, with some of those mind control experiments that
Hmm.
they would use on people and to turn them into, like, Manchurian candidates. That's what he was in
Yeah.
that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was Manchurian. Yeah, man. It
Hmm.
just really, yeah, they're saying here it's like some of these stuff, incapacitating compounds, benzodiazepines.
Yeah, to fracture the mind, compartmentalize it, and to add in personalities. And I think there's more to it too, than just that. Just not all science. But I don't want to get too far into that. But definitely is to fracture the mind. Some people, when they undergo some type of torture like that, they experience some type of dissociation from their bodies, like almost sinking into their bodies.
Wow. Wow, this is, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of experiments like crazy, man. This is just gas experiments, sarin. Oh my goodness. So the amount of, and sarin is an extremely toxic organophosphorus compound, and it's used in chemical weapon due to its extreme potency as a nerve agent. Oh my
Look at
goodness.
that.
And they're just a lot of this stuff tested on people. It's actually scary.
Yeah,
It's really, yeah, when you think about it. And nobody, the fact that, and this is documented stuff. Edgewood
that's
Arsenal.
right.
Yeah.
Imagine what's not documented.
Holy smokes. Plutonium injections. It just, I mean, looking at this stuff is scary. It's just and this is all between the 40s and the 70s, and those are just the ones that are open. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is crazy.
that's the files that have been revealed. I'm sure that's probably the tip of the iceberg.
Hmm.
Just brushing the
Exactly.
surface. It seems like we're going in deep, but we're probably just going brushing the surface. It was probably way worse than that. Hmm.
Yeah, this
And they say some of these people can be set off with trigger words. They just say some type of word that's been implemented in their mind or their fractured brain, and it'll bring about someone else completely different, another personality.
yeah, this man, unethical human experimentation. And a lot of it, yeah, a lot of it is this is like, there's just so much. The fact that people can find stuff like this, the fact that any type of experiments where governments might have experimented on populations should be frightening enough.
Yeah.
Mr. Super Sidewinder, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. Yeah,
But it
this
reminds
is
me of that movie, Eyes Wide Shut. It's right in front of you, but it's Eyes
yep,
Wide Shut.
yeah,
Stanley Kubrick is a great
exactly.
director. I mean, he
Yeah,
really nailed it.
you're right. Eyes wide shut, man. This so there was a Vanderbilt study. Oh my goodness. This stuff, they're saying Vanderbilt radioactivity iron study in the 40s, where 820 pregnant white women were given radioactive iron traces without their informed consent to
Hmm.
study nutrition. Really? So that's what they were studying, right? While it did not cause immediate death for all, oh my goodness. So that means it caused it for some. It
Yeah.
exposed vulnerable populations and their unborn children to radiation. This is just like, why?
Mhm.
This is it. Oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness. It just, yeah, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what type of Twilight Zone movie are we in?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, this was, yeah, brutal, brutal. They used to do some horrible things in the 1800s, they were saying, for advancements in medicine. Yep, and there's still everything is going on. It's one big giant lab.
It is.
Yep, United Labs of America, basically. Wow. But yeah, it's a little late here, a little after 2. Mr. X, always a pleasure, man. Having you on
Likewise.
here.
Great
Yeah, man.
stream. Great
Everybody in
stream.
the chat, man, for supporting T Raf, brother. Thank you so much. Brother Ali, man, I appreciate it, bro. Lexus June, brother, always, man. Appreciate all the support. Maga Mike, thank you, brother, for the support. Azraroon, thank you, bro, for the support. And everybody else who hopped into the chat, everybody who had questions, I appreciate all of you people being here. We'll talk again soon. Tonight, yeah, we'll talk tonight, Saturday night. I'll think of a topic. If anybody has ideas, please leave them in the comment section of the video. Take care. Have a
Have a good
great
night.
night.